What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So let's get started with the MLB standings. We have one more week of the regular season. Next week is the playoffs. American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays have officially punched the playoffs. They're taking a year off from the playoffs. Last year they're back in the dance. First American League team to 90 wins this year at 90-66. They are heading back to the playoffs. They beat Kansas City 8-5 right to 6 yesterday. And they are headed to the postseason. Yankees are rather heels. Yankees are playing well. Just 2 games behind Toronto in the American League East. And it's gonna be a fun race because Toronto and Boston have a 3-game series in Toronto at Rogers Center starting tomorrow. And the Yankees have a very easy finish to their schedule. Remember that going into September, we all talked about how that first part of their schedule in September was tough. They had Boston and Houston, teams that they've had a little trouble with throughout the season. Teams that they might see in the playoffs early on in the playoffs this year, and they're able to get by those teams. And now you get rewarded. You play the Twins and the Orioles and the White Sox to finish off. So they have a set through with the god awful White Sox starting tomorrow. American League Central, all of a sudden, the Cleveland Guardians, who have won 10 of their last 11 games, are just 1 game behind the Tigers in the American League Central. This Tigers collapse, I've never seen before. This is Mets-esque, honestly. It might even be worse. I think I saw a stat, it was like a day or two ago. The Tigers, I think, were 9.5 games ahead of the Guardians like 10 days ago. At this point, maybe it's 12 days ago. In like the last, not even 2 weeks, they've lost 8.5 games in the standings. It's a perfect score of Cleveland, winners of 10 of their last 11, and Detroit has lost 9 of their last 10. Cleveland's has been, over the last 2 weeks, has been the best team in baseball, and Detroit's been probably the worst. So crazy, just flip on its head all of a sudden. Tigers just a game ahead of Cleveland in the American League Central. And Seattle sweeps the Houston Astros. They continue to roll. They are 87-69 for the year. They are 3 games ahead of the Houston Astros in the American League West. And they have the tiebreaker with the Houston Astros, so it's really 3.5 games. If you're going off that. But Seattle's rolling. Looks like they're going to win the American League West. And with their first division title in 24 years since 2001 when they had the MLB record 116 wins. But a big series win from Seattle. Not only series win, they sweep the Houston Astros. Texas Rangers have fallen out of it. They've won now almost 7 in a row. They're probably going to be officially eliminated any day now. NL East is over. Central Brewers officially clinched the National League Central. With the Cubs losing yesterday, they get swept by the Reds, who have now won 5 in a row. Cubs get swept by Cincinnati. Big series between the Mets and the Reds coming up starting tomorrow. There's not a lot of games today at all. Very, very few. National League West with Dodgers losing to San Francisco yesterday. They're now still 3 games ahead of the Padres. They do clinch the playoffs, so Dodgers officially clinch a playoff spot. But the division is still up for grabs. They have a 3-game lead over the San Diego Padres right now. And heading to the wild card race first, let's take a look at the buys. This is crazy. Seattle is 3 games out of a bye. No, out of the 1 seed in the American League. That's wild. A few weeks ago, they were barely even in the playoff, in the wild card. They were hanging on by a thread to a wild card spot a few weeks ago, and now they currently have a first round bye. The Detroit Tigers were 2 games behind Seattle now for a first round bye. What a collapse they're in the midst of. Hopefully for their sake they can hang on. All these Detroit fans are obviously freaking out, as Mets fans are, as I am obviously as a Met fan. Detroit. A few weeks ago, not even like 2 or so weeks ago, the division looked over. It looked like a pretty safe bet they were going to have a first round bye. The 1 seed was even that out of the question. Now, I'm not even sure they're going to make the playoffs. They should, but it's crazy. And to the wild card race, Yankees are the first wild card. Right now, they're 3 games ahead of the Red Sox. They're a game ahead of Cleveland, technically, and Houston. Cleveland and Houston both are 84 and 72, but Cleveland has the tiebreaker over the Houston Astros The season ends tonight, Cleveland would actually make the playoffs, and the Houston Astros would miss the playoff for the first time since 2016. The season ends today, and I think they're going to end up missing because Yankees look like they're definitely going. Boston, I mean, they get Toronto. Toronto definitely has something to play for because they're only two games ahead of the Yankees. I think their last series is an easy one now. And we have obviously that's a big series. Red Sox and Toronto. Another big series. Guardians in Detroit. They meet again. Last week they played Cleveland, swept them last week, and 3-game series in Cleveland starting tomorrow between the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers. Detroit leads the Guardians by 1 game in the American League Central. So that is obviously another huge series that is going on. And that's it. The only three in the race to Texas is 5 out, but they're plus 7 around. Cleveland, Houston are tied, and Cleveland would go to the playoffs. Again, for 3 weeks ago, this team was basically out of the race completely, and now they might have a first round bye. They're like 3 games out of a bye in the American League. That's absolute insanity. September baseball has been very exciting this year, as it usually is. National League, Milwaukee Brewers officially clinched a bye in the first round of the playoffs. They are 3 games ahead of the Phillies for the 1 seed National League. They're 5 games ahead of Toronto for 1 seed in the entire majors. Dodgers are 4 games behind the Phillies for a bye, so it looks like Dodgers will have to play a first round playoff series. They haven't even locked up their division yet. Cubs are the first wild card. They've already clinched a playoff spot. San Diego, they win their last 2. They've been up and down for about 85 and 71. They're 3 games behind the Cubs for the first wild card. Cubs have lost their last 4. So that it's almost definitely that's probably going to be the series. Cubs and Padres. Hopefully the advantage most likely will be at Wrigley, but that is still up for grabs. So still a lot to play for both teams. The Reds and Mets are technically tied for the last wild card spot. Reds have gotten hot. They have now won 5 in a row. Mets lost 2 or 3 to the freaking Nationals. But because the Reds have the tiebreaker over the Mets, if the season ended today, the Cincinnati Reds would make the playoffs. The New York Mets would miss the playoffs. Arizona somehow, after selling off everything of a trade deadline, is continuing to play good baseball. They're just a game out of the playoff spot. San Francisco is only 3 games out, and the Marlins, who have gotten hot all of a sudden, they won 6 in a row. They're only 4 games out. Again, 6 games out, so probably too little, too late, but they're still in it. St. Louis is only 4 games out as well, and it's definitely too little, too late for them. In fact, they're actually already eliminated by Atlanta. Actually, it's won 8 in a row all of a sudden. So I guess good for them for continuing to go out there and win baseball games, even as bad as they've been all year. I cannot fathom how embarrassing the New York Mets are. How are you this talented and you've played this bad? They are a bottom 5 team in baseball since June 13th. That is not me over-exaggerating or freaking out. That they literally think have the third or fourth worst record in Major League Baseball since June 13th. Over the last 3 and almost a half months, they have been one of the worst teams in all of baseball. This team has 0 heart. How are you 0-67 when trailing after 8 innings? Now, yeah, obviously that stat, it includes it's not just close games. It could be down 12-0, and not just down 2-1. But 67 tries, 0-67. They have not had a 9th inning comeback in a year. It's been about a full calendar year since the New York Mets have come back to win a game when they were losing going into the 9th inning. That is pathetic. There is no fight with this team. Absolutely none. How do you go the LCS one year, add one of the best players in all of baseball a year later, and get worse? How is that physically possible? And by the way, last year, I thought the Mets were going to be horrible last year going into last season. They surprised all of us, getting hot at the right time, making the playoffs, having a great season, ending up in Game 6 of the National League Championship Series, and then before they lost to the Dodgers. It's unfathomable how bad this team has played. They've lost so many games to bad teams. I think you split the season here with the Nationals. I think there were 7-something against Washington. They didn't play well against the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't think they even played that well against the A's. They didn't play well. So many bad teams that they didn't play well against the Braves, the Marlins. They didn't play well against the Giants. They went 3-3 against Giants. Were one of the worst teams in baseball at one point. They had one little hot stretch in August, and they're still 2 games under 500. Oh my God, it's embarrassing. Now, David Stearns, he is terrible. That guy sucks. Okay, this is what he's done. Last year, he tried shopping in the bargain basing for rotation. He tried, he brought in a project in Luis Severino, a project in Shamania. It kind of worked last year. You make the playoffs. And he also brought Harrison Bader last year. But again, even last year, he could have done more at the trade deadline. If the bullpen didn't help, he got Ryan Stanek and Phil Maton. The only bat he picked up was Jesse Winker, who was pretty good last year. This year, he was injured for pretty much all season. Then this year, they need more starting pitching. He loses Luis Severino. He loses Jose Quintana. I don't know why he let Quintana go. Would have cost him nothing to resign him. He's been just as good as this year with the Brewers as he was with the Mets last year. But in Clay Holmes, who's been relatively good, and Frankie Montas, who was a disaster. He's been a below-average pitcher for like 4 years. And you somehow thought this guy was going to magically become an ace in Queens. I don't know what he was thinking, giving him $17.5 million a year for multiple years at this point in his career. He could have traded for Garrett Crochet, didn't do it, didn't pull the trigger. He went with the same, kind of put together rotation. Knowing Kawhi Senga was coming off a year where he didn't pitch for the most part because of injuries. I don't know why he decided to do that. And I had all the injuries early on in the season with Shoma Naya being hurt, Kawhi Senga being hurt, and Griffin Canning, who was only in the rotation because of injuries, pitching well, he gets hurt. You basically have 2 true stars dating back to April, in Holmes and David Peterson. And instead of going out and trading for somebody, giving a guy like Noel McLean or Brandon a shot, maybe in July instead of the very end of August and September, he was willing to roll out Chris Davinsky and Justin Hageman and Huskar Brazaban in these 2-3 inning starts day in and day out, and just killed their bullpen, cost them so many games at the beginning of the season. Think about it. They're tied for the last wildcard spot. Technically, they don't control their own destiny right now because of the tiebreaker. Imagine if they won like 5 more games, 5 of those games against the Nationals and the Pirates and the Braves, and the Giants and all these other bad teams that I've lost to this year, and the Royals. Royals are as mediocre as it gets in this league. You didn't play well against them. If you won 5 of those, 5 wins, you would your magic number would be what, 1 or 2 to clinch the playoffs. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous how inconsistent this team. They go in, you beat up you sweep or win a series against a really good team, and then you lose 2 series to bad teams. It makes no sense. This team is just so frustrating to watch. And they better not miss the playoffs, because then you're going to have to hear it from everybody. Okay, this is embarrassing. They should be embarrassed. David Stearns done a terrible job. At the very least, you have to find a way to make the postseason. Once you get there, anything can happen. I don't look their chances in the first-round playoff series against Los Angeles Dodgers in LA. You got to at least get into the playoffs. 0, disappointing. Unless something crazy happens and they can go on a run somehow. This is going to be a hugely disappointing year, but you have to make the postseason. Okay, if not, there's going to have to be changes. Nobody wants. Okay, they got to get their heads out of their ass. You got the Cubs starting tomorrow. I know that they're not playing when they already quit the playoff spot, but they still got to wrap up home field advantage for that first round series with the San Diego Padres. There is still something to play for, at least at first, to start that series. Unless even the Padres lose to the Brewers tonight, who already have a first round bye locked up, but they do have to still lock up the official 1 seed. They have to go in and take care of business, and then you finish with the Marlins, who have given you trouble in the past. You got to beat them. Okay, the Mets cannot miss the playoff. That is an unmitigated disaster they have created for themselves. Clean this up. take care of business, and get into the goddamn playoffs. Or I swear to God, I will lose my crap on you guys, okay? Shame on you, Mets, okay? Shame on you. Get your heads out of your asses. Make the goddamn playoffs. It should not be this hard, okay? Shame on you. You've played terrible baseball for 3 months. Right the ship and get this done. College football recap. It was week 4 of the college football season. Number 3 LSU takes care of business against Southeastern Louisiana. Wins by a lot. 56-10. Was 35-zip at the half. Nussmeier 25-31 for 273 and 3 touchdowns. Well, number 4 Miami beats Florida 26-7. Had a feeling this game was going to be relatively lopsided. Carson Beck did not play very well. 17 of 30 for 160 and a pick. But Florida's, they're not good. They're not good. But Miami takes care of business. Number 6, Oregon beats Oregon State 41-7. Dante Moore 21 of 31 for 305 and 4 touchdowns. And then number 7, Florida State against Kent State 66-10. They blew them out of the water. Castellanos didn't do a whole lot. 10-13 for 205 and the 1 pick. But obviously, they played nobody, so they take care of business. Number 4, Texas, number 8, Texas, rather, beat Sam Houston 55-0. Arch 18 of 21 for 309, 3 touchdowns. Texas 5-star SEC play. That's going to be interesting because Arch has them overall look right overall. They've won 3 in a row, since they've also had a step. They haven't really played anybody good. Number 19, Indiana demolishes number 9, Illinois, 63-10. They had 10 sacks. No, never mind, that's Oklahoma. But Indiana, well, they're looking really good. I thought Illinois had a shot to win that game. I actually picked them to not think it would be a 53-point deficit. It was 35-10 at the half. Indiana, Tim Mendoza, 21 of 23 for 267 and 5 touchdowns. So Indiana's looking great right now. Number 11, Oklahoma beats number 22, Auburn, 24-17. John Mateer, this kid is something else. He's playing really good football. 24 of 36 for 271 and a touchdown. You remind me a lot about Baker Mayfield. I know it might seem lazy because they both went to Oklahoma, but just, the fire he brings, the flair, the play style. You remind me a lot of Baker Mayfield. It's probably my pro player comparison for him. Mateer continues to play well. Oklahoma wins again. They're 4 now. Number 13, Ole Miss beats Tulane 45-10. Number 15, Tennessee beats UAB 56-24. Number 17, Texas Tech beats number 16, Utah 34-10. So a small upset. Surprisingly, it was that lopsided, but Texas Tech playing good football. They are 4-0 on the year. Number 18, Georgia Tech beats Temple 45-24. Another nice game from Haynes King. 13 of 18 for 161 and 2 touchdowns. And number 20, Vanderbilt against Georgia State. Vanderbilt easily wins 7-21. Vanderbilt is playing good football. I mean, Georgia State sucks, but 4-0. Number 21, Michigan gets past Nebraska 30-27. First loss of the year for Nebraska. Dylan Raiola, the Patrick Mahomes, freaking doppelganger, whatever you want to call him, does play well. 30 of 41 for 308 and 3 touchdowns. But Michigan takes care of business. They win. Like I Dylan Raiola, he's got to stop. And then he was like, oh, I can't help the Mahomes comparison. My fault. I look like him. I get he can't, you can't help like his facial features. Like you do his hair like him. You wear the same kind of clothing as him. He modeled his play styles after him. Same mannerisms too. Like on the sideline. It's weird, dude. Stop. Like he's playing well so far this year. He was pretty good last year. He's not a horrible talent. We're not Pat Mahomes, okay? This dude's got to stop. But Michigan wins. Number 23, Missouri beats South Carolina 29-20. Lenora Severs overall plays well, 18 of 20 for 302 and 2 touchdowns. He's a very talented kid. Could be the number 1 quarterback coming out this year. But Missouri picks up the win. They're 4 now. Number 24, Notre Dame finally gets a win. They beat Purdue 56-30. Marcus Freeman was not happy with the defense after the game. I didn't like to give up 30 points to Purdue. However, they do take care of business and pick up the win. But overall, they have not looked at all this year. And number 25, USC beats Michigan State 45-31. And with that, we're going to AP rankings. Then we get to some NFL stuff, and then we'll finish up with some wrestling talk. Cal State remains the first-ranked team. They had a bye this week. They remain first in the country. Miami is ranked now second in the country. Who would have thought that after all they lost in the offseason? Penn State's ranked third. Moved down on LSU down to 4th. Georgia still fifth. Oregon is still sixth. Oklahoma's up to seventh in the country. Florida State down to eighth. That's gotta be tough. You win by 56 and you go down the ranking, but still ranked eighth. A&M is now ranked ninth, coming off a bye. Texas is down to 10th in the country. Indiana is all the way up to 11th in the country. Texas Tech up to 12th. Ole Miss at 13. Iowa State down to 14. Tennessee remains at 15. Georgia Tech up to 16th in the country. Alabama down to 17th. Vanderbilt is 18th. Michigan is 19th. Missouri is 20th. USC is 21st. Notre Dame is 22nd. Illinois plummets to 22nd. TCU and BYU round out their rankings at 24th and 25th as they enter the rankings. Sunday slate in the NFL, the 1 o'clock slate was just wild. Browns have a crazy comeback win over the Packers, 13-10. Packers have their first loss of the year. Browns with their first win of the year. Packers were up 10-0 with like 4 minutes left, and they blow it. Love makes a mistake late in the game. Game-winning field goal for the Browns. Here it was.
Good snap. Good hold. The kick is on the way. The kick is good! The kick is good! And Andre Schmidt from 55!
So crazy field goal to win the game. Crazy comeback for the Cleveland Browns. Scored 13 answers in the fourth quarter late to beat the Packers. I'm telling you, this Cleveland team, they can be sneaky. They're not a good team. They're not going to win that many games, but they can run the football. I think Quinshon Judkins is really good. If Flacco can just protect the football, they have a talented defense. Obviously they have a very limited ceiling. Joe Flacco is obviously not what he once was, and the rest of the offense isn't great. The offensive line isn't very good. Defense is good, but it's not great. They're very young, but they could mess around and win like 5 or 6 games. I don't think they're as bad as like a team like the Saints or the Dolphins will be lucky to win 3 games. But huge upset for them to win 13-10. The Indianapolis Colts beat the Tennessee Titans 41-20. Another good game for Daniel Jones, 18 of 25 for 220 and a touchdown. Big game for Jonathan Taylor, ran for over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. So Daniel Jones went from just literally face playing with the Giants to doing this.
In for the first time. He's in the backfield. He picks up the blitz. Jones is in trouble. He's dancing away. He's got some daylight. And Jones will get the first down and more to the 25.
It's crazy when you give a quarterback a good offensive line and legit coaching, what can happen. Colts look really good. That offense right now is one of the best in football. They are 3-0. And big blowout over the Titans. That Titans, they look really bad. They're not even competitive. And I don't like firing a head coach 1 year into a rookie quarterback's career. But with Brian Callahan, they're not even competitive. But the Colts, they're playing well. D. Jones looked a lot better. But the Colts, obviously, they're on paper a decent team. They honestly have a good roster. I've always believed that. I just thought Daniel Jones was awful, so I think they're going to win a lot of games. I was wrong so far. They're not even competing in these games. Like even week 1 against Denver, when they only lost by a touchdown, they looked horrible. They were dropping passes left and right, bad penalties, came over sacked 6 times. Just ugly. They look really bad. Once again, a lot of really bad football teams in the NFL. The last part of the league is bad. Vikings absolutely upend the Bengals 48-10. It was 34-3 at the half. Horseman's actually does a good job, 14 of 20 for 173 and 2 touchdowns. You what you need to do. You only threw the ball 20 times. Yes, he was against a horrible defense. He's got a great sort of weapons, but he used that to his advantage. Big game for Jordan Mason. 16 carries, 416 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jake Browning looked really, really bad. He had a couple picks. He had pick 6. Bengals threw him over 5 times. They got to be better. I get Joe Burrow is out 3 months. That's a huge loss. He's one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. But, and the Vikings are a good team. They have a good defense. But it shouldn't look that bad. Jake Browning a couple of years ago played pretty well in place of the injured Joe Burrow. He's a decent backup, one of the better backups in the league. He's got Jamar Chase. He's got T. Higgins, Chase Brown at running back. They should be able to keep pace in the AFC playoff picture. Maybe not the AFC North because the Ravens are really good, but they should at least be able to stay afloat and hopefully get Joe Burrow back for the last stretch of the season. That's the goal. And their defense is bad. Y'all know that. The Vikings offense is elite, minus the quarterback. But just, come on. You're turning the ball over 5 times. Your defense gave up 48 to Carson at the end of the day. I get he was just kind of game managing, was more on, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Mason had a big game. He is a good player. He's a good running back. But he's still, the back. I mean, look, yes, he did a great job filling in for McCaffrey last year too. But like, it's not like Jordan Mason's an all-pro, and he just lit you on fire. Just cut you up. You gotta be better. But Zach Taylor is going to get fired. You can't miss the playoffs, 3 times in 4 years with this amount of talent. That will cost him his job. So first loss of the year for the Bengals, Vikings get the 2-1. Steelers beat the Patriots 21-14. I'm telling you, I don't like the Patriots. I think they're still a year away. Drake May did play well, 28-37 for 268 and two touchdowns. He does play well. 2 touchdowns for Hunter Henry. Yeah, he had a big game. But Pittsburgh, they win. They're 2-1. Their running game is really concerning. Running game is really struggling. Caleb Johnson doesn't look great. Jalen Warren looked very bad yesterday. 18 carries for 47 yards. So their run game looks really bad. I don't think the defense is that good. I still think they didn't play a good team. You played the Jets, who sucked in week 1. Jets, they blew that game. You lose to Seattle. You probably should have won. You made that really bad error on the kickoff. And then you get past a Patriots team. I don't think they're that good. Going into year, I thought they'd be competitive, but not a playoff team. I have them at 8 wins heading into the season. I think it's close to 5 or 6. They just that defense is not what we thought. The secondary looks really, really bad right now. And Mike Vrabel, I just don't see the culture change you thought when they brought him in. Again, establishing a culture, changing culture, it takes more than 3 weeks. This is something that I think could take a couple of years. Just no one have to do a Patriots fan thinking, we're going to 11 games, win the AFC East, we're going to be in the AFC division round. Like, stop. You're not making the playoffs this year. Next year, maybe, if you push the right buttons in the offseason, but stop it. That offense still isn't good. Stop. Like, the defense should be better. Maybe it gets better as the year goes on, but they do not look good. They do not look very good right now. They do not look good. Eagles come from behind to beat the Rams 33-26. They were down 19 points at one point. It was 19-7 at the half. It was even worse than that at one point. They come all the way back. They score a late touchdown to take the lead right here.
He'll look to throw to the sideline. It's Smith. He's got it.
And after going ahead late, Rams with a field goal to potentially retake the lead, but Jordan Davis said no.
Joshua Carty has it blocked again. This time Jordan Davis, the big man, looks for the icing on one big cake. Eagles hang on.
Incredible blocked field goal and return to ice the game. What an ending to that game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Come all the way back, win 33-26. Jalen Hurts 21-36 for 32 rather for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think we can have a discussion about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is elite. I get that he doesn't look the part. He doesn't have these crazy physical tools. He doesn't have the best arm in the world. But when I think of a starting quarterback in the NFL, a starting quarterback that is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, all I need him to do, I don't necessarily need him to, make these 80-yard throws like Mahomes and Josh Allen do. I don't need him to, be hurdling defenders in midfield like Lamar Jackson's doing. That's a great plus, but those guys are amazing. Those are the best in the league for a reason. I need him to take care of the football, make smart plays, be a leader of men, and do what it takes to win football games. That's what Jalen Hurts does. Yes, he doesn't have a cannon of an arm. He's a good athlete. I would say he's a great athlete. He's not the most accurate quarterback ever. But, he takes care of the football. He knows his role. He knows, I have this loaded team. All I got to do is protect the football and get the ball in the hands of my playmakers. Trust my defense. Trust the guys around me. And yes, like, is he as talented as Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? No, he's not. But he's reached higher heights than all of them but Patrick Mahomes. He's won a Super Bowl and been to 2. Josh Allen, yes, Allen's the reigning league MVP. He is more talented than Jalen Hurts. He can't say that. Lamar Jackson, same deal. He's much more. He's a better individual talent than Hurts. He's not accomplished what Jalen Hurts has done. Joe Burrow is a better talent than Jalen Hurts. He has not accomplished what Jalen Hurts has. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback in this league. And honestly, I think the negative talk around probably does need to stop. And I don't like Philly. I'm as negative on Philly, just Philadelphia in general, all sports, as one can get. Gotta give credit where it's due. Howie Roseman is a wizard, and Jalen Hurts is really freaking good. Bucks beat the Jets 29-27, which was a crazy game. Bucks were up 20-6 at the half. It was 23-6 through 3 quarters. Jets come all the way back, and they blocked this field goal to take a lead, shockingly, in the last 2 minutes.
It's blocked. Field goal attempt is blocked. Scooped up and will be taken all the way for a Jets touchdown. Will McDonald returns it into the end zone, and we are tied at 26.
So huge block field goal from Will McDonald. He returns it all the way the other way for a touchdown with about a minute 45 or so left to pick up the win. Not the win, to take a 1-point lead. But then Bucks get the ball back, and then all of a sudden they have this play to put them in a field goal range.
Back out. Oh, now they go. Mayfield complete. Sterling Shepard breaks free, and finally tackled by McCrary.
Then Chase McLaughlin with this field goal to win the game.
McLaughlin's kick is right down the middle.
Bucks win. Another come from behind victory in the final seconds for Baker Mayfield. Came to play good football. Bucks were at 3-0 on the year. The Jets, the worst part about that blocked field goal, all of us Jet fans, as soon as he returned it, we were like, minute 45 to go. The only is a field goal, 2 timeouts. Our defense is going to blow us. We all know it. We all know it. The Bucks took 10 penalties in the first half. And they still won. And they still won the game. The Jets are freaking terrible. So you were like, oh, like the fight the team showed. Again, too many unforced errors. They got hosed in that 3rd and 29 passing interference on Sauce. That was not a penalty. They got screwed, but still. Late in the second quarter, you're down. You're down by a touchdown. You're down 13-6. You're trying to get in field goal range, but not a lot of time left. And Tyrod Taylor throws a pick 6. Like, you can't throw a pick 6 there. You're better off taking a knee and say, you know what, we're just going to not even try and get points. We're only down by a touchdown. Let's go to the half. Pick 6, absolute backbreaker, absolute killer. Defense can't get off the field. The defense is really bad. They couldn't get pressure all day. The secondary sucks. I do want to say one thing. I don't mind Aaron Glenn having all that emotion on the sideline. I get yes, the game wasn't over and they'll end up losing the game. But we all bitched about Robert Saleh, doing this the whole time. Looking like he wants to just get run over by a truck. Like, dude, show the emotion you had in San Francisco. You can't get put about Aaron Glenn having some emotion. I'm not sold on the guy by any means. He hasn't won a game yet, for crying out loud. But I didn't mind that at all. I thought that was actually very cool. The only 2 coaches in the league I think are sprinting down the sideline like that are Aaron Glenn and Mike Vrabel. Hilariously enough, those 2 guys. Vrabel obviously is a proven coach in this league, but this year they have 1 win combined in 3 weeks, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I didn't mind that. But same old Jets, they suck. Bucks win the game. Commanders over the Raiders, 41-24. Raiders, man, they're bad. Geno does play much better. 19 rather of 29 for 289, 3 touchdowns. But Marcus Mariota starting in place of the injured Jaden Daniels, he gets the job done. Trey Tucker had 8 catches for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns, and no one's talking about it because they got the doors beat off them by a backup quarterback. I had a feeling it was going to be a long year for the Raiders. I like Pete Carroll a lot. We know what he's accomplished in Seattle, a bunch of years ago, but he's a culture builder. It's going to take time. Okay, it's going to take a couple of years. I don't think this is their year. They have injuries on the defensive line now. They're at 1-2. Commanders beat the brakes off of them. Panthers shot the Falcons 30-0. Michael Penix did not look good. 18 of 36 for 170 yards and 2 picks. He had this brutal pick 6 at one point in the game.
Penix with time is intercepted. That's completely on Penix. 100%. Shaw Smith-Wade takes it in.
Michael Penix. He screams to it. The Tagovailoa. Just, undersized, left-handed quarterback. A lot of hype coming out of college. Played in the national championship game. Didn't play well. Or Tua gets benched for Jalen Hurts to win the game. Penix was very bad in the game against Michigan. Ends up losing. Gets drafted high. Tua was picked 5 by Miami. Penix was the 8th pick by the Falcons last year. First year, doesn't play a whole lot, not sure what to think, and then comes out second year, still not sure, and then also a few years down the line, we're like, yeah, this guy isn't very good. I like Penix coming out. I said if he could stay healthy and land development the right way, he could be very good, but it's not looking great. He looked really bad against a really bad Carolina defense. That was very, very alarming for Michael Penix. He was 30-0 to the freaking Carolina Panthers. I don't get it. That's an embarrassing loss for the Atlanta Falcons. Chargers over the Broncos, 23-20. Herbert, another great game, 20-47 for 300 yards and a touchdown. They look really good. They get to 3-0 on the year. Denver drops to 1-2. Seahawks demolish the Saints, 44-13. The Saints are bad. They are bad. My proof to JSA, he's playing during illness. He played very well, 5 catches, 9 yards, and a touchdown. Sam Darnold, 14 of 18 for 218 and 2 scores. Did what he needed to do. This game was 38-6 at the freaking half of the Saints. That defense is wholly bad. As bad the Bengals is, the Saints are somehow worse. My God. Well, they are horrible. They're as bad as we all thought. The Bears finally win the game. They beat the Cowboys 31-14. The Dallas Cowboys might have the worst defense in the NFL. The Bears offense couldn't get out their own way. I just bashed the hell out of Caleb Williams last week saying this guy sucks, they should move on from him. And I still believe that. I don't care, he had 4 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. Oh my God. And Matt Eberflus was the head coach of the Bears the last few years. They were dreadful. Now, your first game against him as the Cowboys defensive coordinator, the Bears offense does something that they never did when you were the head coach. That is holy mother of God, a bad look. When they hired, everyone's like, oh, he's a good defensive coordinator. He's a good defensive mind. The Bears defenses were good, just that he knows nothing about offense and he just can't manage the clock. And now he's a good DC. The guy he won't blitz. He's too predictable. It's honestly, if they had Micah Parsons, I don't think obviously having Micah Parsons on defense is going to help any defense. I don't think it'd be as bad of a fit. Because he doesn't blitz a lot, Dallas's pass rush is not good. The only way for them to even possibly get pressure, they have to blitz. Otherwise, they just don't have the personnel to get pressure without blitzing. And because Eberflus doesn't blitz, it's just a horrible, horrible fit. So I think that's why the defense is struggling this bad. Look, the defense is not good. The personnel is not good. Trevor is supposed to be an all-pro, and Roma Dunze had him in a freaking knot yesterday. But it's a perfect storm of just, having a D-line that can't get pressure without blitzing, just the personnel that they have. And the coordinator who's running the defense doesn't like to blitz. He blitzes as less as any coordinator DTC in the league. He's pretty high up there. So not a good look. Bears finally won the game. Cowboys 1-2. They're not good. Dak did not play well. Pickens, and looking back as George Pickens, dropped the ball right into the Bears' hands for an interception late in that game, and Dak didn't play well, and now CeeDee Lamb had high ankle sprain. I just got a report on it from the Sleeper app. He has a high ankle sprain, which usually means 4 to 6 weeks. We don't know that for sure with Lamb. I'm assuming he's going to get some tests today. We'll probably know for sure. I would hope sometime this week. But the kind of injury he has probably cost him 4 or 6 weeks. If that's the case, I think the season's over. I don't even have the schedule in front of me. They got to play Philadelphia again. They have to play Washington twice. Washington is a better team than them. They get Green Bay in prime time this coming week. That's what 4 losses right there. That's at least 6 losses. Just they can't stop anybody. If CeeDee Lamb is gonna miss extended time, their center Cooper Beatty, whatever his name is, he's out for the season. Just stick a fork in it. They suck. They suck. 49ers beat the Cardinals 16-15 on a game-winning field goal from Eddie Pinheiro. Here it is.
With his leg, sweeps it, delivers it, and San Francisco is in first place. They win it at the Horn.
Look what happens when you have a kicker that can make kicks. Look at that. How it took this long for Jake Moody to get cut is beyond me. The guy was dreadful for 2 years and change. Richard Sherman, of course, former NFL corner who played for the 49ers toward the end of his career, he's on some podcast, and he made a good point. Kickers in the NFL are so good now, better than ever. Finding a kicker, a good kicker, is not hard. Brandon Aubrey was like he was a soccer player who retired from soccer, became some like freaking IT guy or something, started practicing field goal kicking because his wife said when a kicker missed a kick, like, oh, you can probably make that kick. He was like, you know what? Let me practice. Was in the USFL for a year. Cowboys signed him just because, and all of a sudden the guy is the best kicker I've ever seen. Jake Bates was in the UFL for 1 year. Never even heard of the guy. Lions picked him up because they needed a kicker, and he was an all-pro last year, I think. Like, finding good kickers is not hard. Kickers are making 50-yard field goals with their eyes closed. 55-yard field goal 10 years ago, it was like, I don't know, this is going to be really hard. Now it's like, if he misses it, it's like, come on, dude, you got to make that. Like, finding good kickers with strong legs who can make kicks consistently from 50 yards plus, it's not hard to find. There is no excuse to not have a good kicker in the NFL today. They're growing on trees. Eddie Pinheiro was just sitting and catering on the street, and Niners picked him up and they're like, oh, wait a minute. This guy's actually really good. He missed a game-winning kick. It was 35 yards, but still. Up there with Jake Moody. Mac Jones, 27-41 for 284 in the score. 49ers are 3 now. Arizona's 2-1. What's going on with Kyler and Marvin Harrison? They gotta get the guy to blow more. I know he dropped the bad pass yesterday, but come on. The fit just looks wonky for whatever reason. Kyler's so overrated. And the Chiefs beat the Giants 22-9. Mahomes 22 of 37 for 224 on a touchdown. Saquon Thornton had a big game. 5 catches, 71 yards on a touchdown. Had that incredible acrobatic catch late in the game. The Giants are cooked. Russell Wilson looked absolutely terrible. Cruz Cam Scabo, he had a big game. He had 121 total yards and a touchdown, 10 carries, 6 yards in the score. That's what 6 for 61 in the score, or the remaining touchdown for the air as well. Not Tyrone Trey. He's going to be out a while with an injury, so Cam Scabo will be taking the reins. If you have him in fantasy, he's probably not available. He's probably owned in most leagues, but if he's available, pick him up now. That guy's going to be a difference maker. Honestly, I think could be a league winner if Tracy misses as much time as people were saying. I'm trying to see if I could find a report about it. Don't have anything, but he's going to miss time. Stock up for Cam Scatterwell, but the Giants, their offensive line, it looked terrible. They just saw Mark Barrow left tackle. Last week he looked great coming in for James Hudson. But they had him as like a swing tackle, kind of like rotating in. The line looked horrible. Chiefs didn't even play that well. They were so sloppy in the first half, they didn't even play that well. And they beat the brakes off you. You couldn't even score a freaking touchdown. It's just embarrassing. At this point, start talking about your season's over. You're 0-3. And they showed their schedule on the broadcast the next 6 weeks. It's bad. The Saints, you get the Saints in a couple weeks. That's a game you could win. The Saints are just as bad, if not worse than you are. But next week, you get the Chargers, who are really good. You get the 49ers in a bunch of weeks. They're a good team. You have the Eagles. We all know are elite. You still got to play them twice. You have still the game of Washington. It's the schedule is just absolutely disgusting. Hell, they haven't beaten Dallas in like 4 years. They almost beat them last week. Dallas isn't even gonna. I don't think you even beat them. You have to play Denver in Denver. It's gonna be a tougher game. Denver isn't super overpowering. You're scaring like 1-7, 1-8, 2-8, 2-9 in the face. I said going into the year, I think Brian Daboll and Joe Sheen are going to need at least to win 7 of the right games, if not 9, to keep their jobs. I don't see how this team wins 4. They win 5, I'd be shocked. Again, they're scaring 1-7 in the face. If they're 2-9, I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest. In the slightest. And at that point, you're 2-9. You have 6 games left. At that point, Daboll and Shea might have to run the table at that point. Start Jackson Dart. I start shopping around some pieces. I don't know if you have any veterans. Have contracts coming. If you do, start looking to moving them around, because they can't draft. They don't develop talent anymore. The Giants are a laughing stock. It's like the Jets and all these other teams. They absolutely blow. They're absolutely horrible. Before we get out of here, I want to talk Wrestlepalooza. Wrestlepalooza was obviously a major letdown. Brock Lesnar, John Cena match was horrible, only 5 minutes long. Why you would have Brock squash John Cena, I have no idea. The main event with Cody and Drew was very underwhelming. Cody retains. The Usos against the Browns was an okay match. I will say, EL against Valkyrie for Women's World Title was really good. I'm very happy for Stephanie Valkyrie that she's the new Women's World Champion. The mixed tag match between Punk and Joey against Rollins and Becky Lynch was very good. I'm happy AJ would get to win in her first match. That was the right decision. By the way, she looked really good. You think about 10 years, maybe she has some ring rust. I think Nikki Bella has had a lot of ring rust thus far. AJ Lee, not any ring rust whatsoever. She looked absolutely fantastic. So kudos to her. But Wrestlepalooza was not only disappointing in terms of just the PLA just wasn't good. The fact that WWE did this deal with ESPN is the giant FU to their fans. And it's honestly one of the most shameful things I've ever witnessed. WWE fans love Peacock. It was $6, like what, $6, $7 a month. You get every PLA plus the other content with Peacock. It was great. And now they're making you pay $30 a month for this ESPN Unlimited. Most people already pay like $12 a month, whatever it is, for the ESPN Plus bundle. Why would somebody pay an extra $366 a year on top of that for the same application? I don't understand. Why would you do this? I'd rather Triple H or Nick Khan or somebody come out and say, oh yeah, it's because TKO forced us to be sold up to TKO. I already just come out and say that. Like Nick Khan, when the deal was announced, I think our fans will follow us like they did to Peacock or Netflix. Netflix is like $9 a month. It's been around for a decade. Everyone has Netflix. Peacock is like $7 a month. Most people have it, and those who don't, if they're true wrestling fans, to cough up, what comes to like $60 or $70 a year is not that much to, because also it's not just, the wrestling PLE. They also there's a lot of movies, good movies and TV shows on there. There's if you're a soccer fan, you get to watch Major League Soccer games. There's other stuff too. ESPN Unlimited, you're only buying it to watch WWE, which and there's no reason. There's so much wrestling out there. The WWE themselves has Raw on Netflix every week. They have SmackDown on Cablevision every week. They have NXT on Cablevision every week. And all these other wrestling companies that are on Cablevision every week. AEW, if you can find them to watch TNA, all these other brands, where GCW or Noah, AAA. Just why would they do this? Why would somebody pay this much? everybody I asked, they either watch some random ass stream, or they watch it they try following it on Twitch, or they bought a VPN. I didn't say that. Who said VPN? I don't know. It wasn't me. But why would they do this? The fans are the reason you do it. Triple H is a compilation of him saying, "Oh, this is what we do. What we do for the fans." Clearly not. It should be, because the fans are the reason you're even relevant. Wrestling's even relevant. It always has and always will be. That's how this works. It's the giant go F yourself to the fans I have ever seen. Also, and then what was the PLE? It was horrible. John Cena is maybe the greatest of all time. He carried the company for a decade. And he's got 5 appearances left. 5. And the match with Brock Lesnar, that reportedly going into the day, he was supposed to win Cena. And somebody mixed it. I don't know if it was Triple H or TKO or Brock. Who knows if it was maybe Brock? I don't know. And you have him lose in 5 minutes. Hey, people start saying, like, oh, when kayfabe, Brock squashed him in 2014, and he's gotten stronger. Cena's almost going to retire. Bro, that was 11 years ago. Nobody wants, because now they're going to fight again. That might be his last opponent, which is lame as hell. Nobody wants to just dragged out Cena Brock feud. Okay? Other outside politics aside with Brock, nobody wants to see the guy in 2025. He had his time in the sun. He hasn't been full time in ages. Goodbye. Get off my television screen, okay? Nobody wants to see that. Why would you waste one of his last ever appearances? Why would you do that? The guy put on, as much flack as he got, not him, but more so the WWE for the heel run. He turns face. He put on an electric match with Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. The match was incredible. He got the crazy pop with Brock at the end. And then the Logan Paul match. Everyone hates Logan Paul, obviously. How can you like Logan Paul? He should not have gotten on the retirement tour as much as he has. That match was great. He had a free match with Sami Zayn on SmackDown. That match was fantastic before Brock interfered. Just why? Like, it's basically the same storyline you ran in 2014. It's basically the same thing. Oh, Brock is this big bad killer. He's beaten John Cena pulpless on Raw or SmackDown countless times. Seems like, honestly, I'm a little scared, but I'm gonna try my best. Brock's just like, I'll see you there, Johnny. And Brock squashed him. The same thing. That is pathetic. The first match ever on this supposedly groundbreaking ESPN was a 5-minute match where Brock Lesnar squashes John Cena. Why would you do this? As soon as Brock Lesnar said on SmackDown, the last SmackDown, the going home SmackDown, like, hey, John Cena, I'm coming for blood. I'm thinking, this match is going to be great. It's going to be a killer match. It's going to be hellacious. 25-minute match. It's going to be blood. It's going to be great. And we get that? Really? Brock hits a couple of suplex. Cena hits 3 AAs. Hits out of all 3. Brock has a couple of F5s. He wins. That's all you could come up with? Really? Paul Heyman said on an Ariel Hawaiian show right after SummerSlam that it's been in the works for about a month that Brock Lesnar is going to be coming back. So you had like 2.5, 3 months to come up with something with Brock and Cena for this match. And this is what you come up with? Really? That's all you come up with. That is pathetic and embarrassing. So Cody and Drew McIntyre. Cody and Drew both pitched to have Randy Orton accidentally cost Cody. It could have led to a Cody and Randy feud, Randy turning heel, maybe Cody eventually turns heel. There was the same boring 15-minute Cody title retain. Really? Did Drew McIntyre insult his wife or something? Did he insult Stephanie McMahon last year or something? The guy is amazing. His character work is great. He's the full package. Oh, he looks incredible. He maybe isn't the best of any guy they have. He looks absolutely amazing. He is everything I want out of a 2025 wrestling heel. everything, the way he uses social media, he is down to a T. His character is some of the best in all of professional wrestling. And he's been done nothing but get shit on since the Punk feud. Keep in mind, he does not like CM Punk. They don't get along in real life. And he put on one of the best feuds I've seen in the last decade. Incredible. And you reward him with nothing. You put him on a feud with Damian Priest, who I like, but Damian Priest is very good. I think underrated, but like, I don't think he's the caliber superstar that Drew McIntyre is. I think Drew McIntyre is in the same category as these top of the line guys, as Roman Reigns, as if you want to put Cody Rhodes in there, you know, with Randy Orton, with all these guys. From if you want to include the women's side, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Becky Lynch, those guys and gals. I think Drew is way up there. That for some reason Triple H and the creative team doesn't see it that way. I do not get it. It's pathetic. Even ESPN, they like gave their grading of it. They said it was a C show. It was the Vicario saved an average show. It was very underwhelming. The Cody and Drew match over underwhelming. Just I understand the creative, the booking in the WWE is as bad as maybe it's ever been. That comparison was the end of Vince McMahon. It's really sad and it's just pathetic. But that's all I got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.